Okay. This is the regular meeting of Columbia Open Space Committee for Thursday, October 17, 2024. And I'll call the meeting to order and entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 19.
So moved. I'll second
Okay. That's all we have. Okay, any additions, corrections? All in favor?
it.
Okay, opposed, abstentions. Okay. We have no updates from our partners as Honor Caller, Kelly Kwasti, and Liz Graves do not seem to be in attendance. Does anybody have a report from them? Heard from them? No.
Where are we on the rural planning bill? Do you know what this, did we have like, did they ever give us like a schedule of what?
They have collected their data. Tom, I think you disseminated a QR code for
Yep.
who wanted to add to.
Yeah, so they sent a link and a QR code, so if people wanted to add, they were gonna keep it open through October. So that's more of a survey type thing, is what are people currently using there, what do they want to use in the future, that kind of stuff.
Right. Just like what we.
Tom, can you send that again? Because
Yep.
Okay. And so until they have collected all the data and cut off the opportunity to further input, I don't think we'll get any progress because they're collecting the data. And then I think they're supposed to have a plan to submit by about January.
Yep.
Preliminary type thing, obviously. Preliminary plan or the plan?
Everything's preliminary, it's gonna go all back to the public, scrutiny again, and
Back to the.
yeah.
Did we
Yeah.
ever get a copy of something they've done in the past?
Yeah, they sent a,
Yes.
they're very elaborate way. Like, pretty impressive out west type stuff.
And there was some, recent one in May.
Is that something I could see? I've been asking them to spend 6 months, but we.
Oh,
I know the end it sent a link for some of the stuff.
Yeah, I'll look and see if I can find that.
Okay, that'd be great, just. People ask me stuff and I don't know what to say.
Tom, did they ever talk about, was the state interested at all in camping in Montauk Pond State Park?
Those are the kind of questions they ask, do you do this now? Do you want to do this in the future? When I was in one-on-one with them, I was looking at potential for Camp Laurel, if that works out, that's not as a state park, but it's just another option. Because that's a big push from the long distance airline trail people looking for campsites.
Right.
So then same thing too with horses, the Camp Laurel might be a good place to park trailers and things for horses, rather than trying to make something else for Montauk Pond and the airline.
Right, because the facilities are already right up there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's all in the future.
but right now Camp Laurel's on hold, right? Because they didn't get any funding from the state.
Right, Camp Laurel, the last I heard, is still in limbo because they're trying to figure out what to do with the dam.
Oh, that's the,
And
Deal breaker.
that's the only sticking point. Otherwise, that would have been a done deal last year. But nobody wants the liability and the responsibility of the dam.
I think somebody in the middle of the night will just go pull the plug.
Well, then you don't have a lake. That's the problem. The attraction, right?
Well, you would, it's like,
Would be a much smaller lake.
it would be much smaller.
If not,
You know what I saw, this is an aside, but what I saw for the very first time in your hometown was Lake Bash.
Ovation, it's just like Columbia.
It's a beautiful.
And it's really clean like Columbia.
Remember, this a survey years and years ago at the dam, looking to the clean water, see a huge bass swimming around it.
Yeah, the homes keep getting knocked down and built mansions.
Yeah,
That's the trend.
that's happening there. Any place where there's water, that's what's happening.
Oh, I could buy this. 500,000 and build a $1.5 million mansion.
Yeah,
So just to follow up on Camp Laurel, a couple of weeks ago, Honor put me in contact with the president of the Avalonia Group,
Yep.
Dennis Main. And we just chatted back and forth. I said, at some point, if that goes through, we'd be interested. In knowing more, working with them regionally. The exact context happened.
yeah, and Avalonia, I believe, is on board to accept ownership of the property if they can figure out the dam.
That's a big tough issue, because eventually, I mean, people all enjoy ponds and lakes and things like that, but we're just gonna be, I don't know, it's a real toughie.
And yeah, you get caught between a rock and a hard place with insurance,
Right.
because now with flood insurance.
Plus with well, of course, right now we're in a drought year time, but this time last year, we were inundated with water. And you don't know what's gonna happen, because the water, it's not any, you can't say, well, it hasn't happened in the last 100 years, well.
Nothing's
That's
the
100
same
years anymore.
anymore.
It's, everything's changed, so it's
Yeah.
tough.
I think all the electric vehicles are causing those problems with the climate. Just want to get that on record.
Oh, look at all.
But is Paul having electric vehicle? Does Paul have an electric vehicle? Is that the good one?
No, I do. And you do.
Well, I had hybrid Prius for years and years and years, not right now.
Got
I'm telling you. Weather changed when the electric vehicles started coming.
Yeah. What's it? Green that says that we're controlling, the government's controlling the weather.
The weather, yeah.
There you go.
it. Come on, Ian, bring it back.
Okay.
We're spinning out of control.
Okay.
Maybe a 2-hour meeting and then.
It's working. Okay, old business. Planning and zoning. Justin is not with us. So I'm assuming nobody else knows what's going on. Or do you?
Well, I just know, the subcommittee is going to, now that they have ADUs in the availability of
Yeah.
accessory dwelling units, the next is to look at, are there any zoning permitting and regulations that are onerous to homeowners and businesses, they're gonna kind of evaluate how easy it is to clearly work instead of the uncertainty of trying to build it. But I think that's what they're going to start analyzing.
You're probably on the land.
Well, I know, and then what we do is not wonderful.
Yeah.
Unless some of these old farm stuff.
Yeah.
You're right, it's
Particular,
ledgy.
Industrial or commercial is, we have one done. This, I mean, it's,
As you well
Yeah, and it's all right on the Fox River.
Yeah, so it's in floodplain.
right,
It's a floodlight. It's,
Maybe they could look at that, I don't know, look at those regulations, there's, my son down in Florida, they do work. You know, Florida's going crazy, so that's where he works down there, and he says, you know, like, if they'll go in, I'm not recommending this. They don't, but they'll, got a piece of property, it's 1/4 good and 3/4 wetlands. So they say, okay, we'll just fill it in, dig a hole over there, we'll say that's the new wetland, and that's, I think just
they
got,
move it.
they just create a wetland someplace else.
yeah,
So we could go down there, dig a big huge hole. Where all the water can go, and then take that dirt and put it into a hill, bring it above the floodplain, and you can develop it. That's what they were doing for it. Not saying it's what you do, but
That's what happened.
that's why Florida is booming and we're not. Although I read an article that it may not be booming much longer.
No, that people, I've heard of migrations already,
You know, 'cause I mean, you can, I mean,
2 hurricanes in a row, I believe. I mean, this is not.
particularly if you're, and most of people want to be near the water. But that's another tangent, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Pine Street parking.
Well, we
Please
now
tell
have
us.
your map. I think we have to organize a meeting and
Yeah,
get
we're
everybody
supposed to
together.
set the meeting.
Okay, so, Rob, when are you home for a while? What's your schedule?
I'm leaving the 24th, I'll be back the 29th. I'll be
Okay,
staying the
so
20
October 24th through November
20, October 24th to October 29th, I won't be here.
10, 29.
And at some point I'm taking off in December, but I don't know when, it is,
Okay,
but
so,
let's do it before then.
yes, so.
Yeah.
So November's good.
Okay, so November, we'll schedule November,
Something November, that's good.
schedule for November. All right, I'll notify the landowners and the lawyers and we'll try to all get together.
Whatever happened to the thought about bringing the state of Connecticut into it? Yeah, because weren't you making the argument that it's,
The state has as much right to use that road as any of the other landowners that are flooded. And they're the biggest landowner, and they've owned that corner for more than 30 years now, so they would really be impacted if it was blocked.
Okay, so what if I stay 2?
Who would you bring in to stay there? That's a sensitive.
somebody with the biggest hammer?
Well, it would be,
Real estate acquisition.
real estate acquisition.
Put Jamie in there.
Yeah, Jamie, right? Good,
One of the things that, been preparing for IMBA coming and so forth, I had met with, Jerry James and I met with the fire chief, and a part of that was over at the firehouse, they have a big map of all the emergency access routes to different parts. And the map was created in 2015 and it shows everything labeled as discontinued roads, including that. And I sent you a picture of that map. So it's like everything that we have keeps saying the same thing over and over, that these are town roads. Documents going back numbers of years.
oh, yeah,
All right, so that's on mine to do for November.
Okay. Yes, that's on the way to
good. Top River Trail and Lions.
So I've been going to their meetings, participating in their meetings whenever I could. The fellow that's headed up right now, John Bolduc, he's very, very active. He's scheduled work parties for every weekend coming up in November. And I can't remember if it was before this week, the last meeting or not. But one of the things was, I think it was already talked about, was all the road crossings, we went out, he and I went out and measured them all for how can he improve for safety, make it a shorter distance, sight lines, all that kind of stuff. So that's, the other thing is, Hop River Trail, they got a from the state and had grant money and are working on putting up all new signage, the standard signage and stuff, and the plan is to adopt that same standard on the airline trail. And the people that put that grant request together for the Hop River have offered to do the same thing for the airline trail.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of mentor the twelve town.
Any information on the bridge?
Yes. Not good news. So the bridge down behind the main roofs, the plan is that probably will not get installed until around 2027. Because it's a prefabricated bridge that's coming in, but that was the last informal update that I got.
I heard.
So another couple of years.
Well, did they,
I just wanted to have it happen before I die, that's.
you had in, the selectmen's meeting, you had a note, Hop River Bridge progress update. Well,
That's on the road.
That's the Hop River Bridge Road.
right,
It's open today.
you're kidding.
No, sign was ready.
Wow,
Yeah, so they got, I went to the meeting
That's quick.
yesterday. Well, no, meeting was maybe Tuesday, and I think they opened yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
So you can drive across, it's amazing, it's a beautiful bridge.
oh yeah, I went and looked at it a couple of weeks ago, and they had finished building it, but they were still working all around.
So how can they do that quick? I mean,
I don't know, I've never saw a bridge go up that fast.
it just shows you what you can, because different towns, you see these little rinky dinky culvert bridges, it'll take years for them to do.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
And that's a major bridge going over a river,
yeah.
that's a good thing, I'm not
Plus, they
saying.
couldn't disturb the falls or whatever right next to it.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have to go check it out.
So I wanted to add two things related to that. The next year, the East Coast Greenway event, Ride the East. Well, last year it went to Malo Pond. This coming year, it's gonna go along the Hop River. And it'll stop at the Hop River Historic Site now that the bridge is there. So part of it is the Historical Society and the Hop River Historic Preserve Group are gonna work on getting that, at least some signage, some docents, something for that day, and I believe it's May 17th.
But they use something similar to what they did at the Mount Pond, like, tent set up to help people give them food, drinks and stuff like that, is that the idea, or?
We don't know yet, it's all, but more than likely. The other thing too is one of the Boy Scouts in Columbia, his Eagle project is to build a kiosk right on the Hop River roadside in Coventry, and a part of that would direct people over to the Hop River prison.
And,
How about the parking lot there?
I
Down
give
there?
you, or the parking lot
Which one we-
that goes to the trail or with the,
Right,
historic site.
the historic site. We don't have, there's not a parking lot yet.
No, I just emailed Beth because your Hop River Preserve Committee yesterday or the day before requested that the gravel be left when they remove the trailer. From when the DOT removes their construction trailer from the site, because Joan has discovered that the foundation is much closer to the road than she thought, and she's excavating right now, so she'd like cars to park right off the road, so we're just gonna leave the gravel.
Sometime in future. It may be off-road, the parking
Well,
lot,
it is off-road, it's just not as off-road as.
roadside.
Yes, it's angled, parking.
Would you eventually plan some sort of a parking lot, but you could drive a little bit in there, avoiding the disruption.
That's what they're gonna do.
The challenge is where the foundation is, and that's to be worried about in the future.
So once we know what the foundations are, we'll figure out where we do have some plan for some kind of parking.
And, there's
Go ahead, pin him down, try that.
Brian, I'm not gonna be the one to make a parking lot over the whole foundation. I'm happy.
Oh, I don't know.
No. I'm not doing it.
Just let you know where it is. If she
Yeah,
says this is
when
where
I
it
get
is,
the green light,
But
from the
the committee
committee-
does the parking spaces so people can actually, because that's narrow road. It's not really wide unless they widen it when they do the bridge, I don't think they.
but you can get totally off the road. We have been
Yeah.
through all construction. It holds a lot of cars.
I just haven't been going down there because I didn't want to get stuck down.
Yeah, the bridge is so wide, it looks like a highway.
It'll be amazing. It used to be there.
Right,
Cool.
and the airline trail park, or not airline, Hop River Trail Park, is that Hop River? Yeah, obviously, Hop River. They're gonna leave all that parking where the gravel is, so where there's a convex box, when that gets removed, they're leaving that gravel there too. So the parking is bigger on the Coventry side of the road.
It's not that would be sufficient even for
Yeah.
historical society.
It may be,
How about the little piece of, Newford's property?
We don't need it because you can't get to it. The bridge railings are so high.
No, okay.
guardrails look like they'll stop a semi-trailer truck. I mean, literally the guardrails are this
Yeah.
big. So it
And the state,
doesn't want you skating over the rail.
most of is 0.9 acre to build a bridge, I mean, so what's left of
It's not worth
the
it.
Hop River Mills Committee decided, forget it.
They're not interested.
So what's gonna happen?
Just to.
I mean, if
Oh, my.
he decides to give it, we'll take it. It's
That's
not
what I was
worth
doing.
purchase.
Because just keep charging taxes. Right. And I assume it is being taxed,
Yeah.
$10
Yeah, he owns that little piece.
so
Yeah.
it could be $5, but that's the subject.
Right. So that's where that stands. And as far as Riding East next year, if we wanted to set up, tabling or refreshments or whatever we do, we could do that next to the mills in Meadow.
Right, in the meadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any open space, which
Yeah, that's really what I was thinking when I was. talking
Yeah, that's what I
about
thought we were gonna do.
We do have a meadow. I think
Things down. to-
Tom is the meadow mowing. Right?
Yep.
Thank you, Tom.
and there are new owners for the.
I haven't met them, but we'll have to find out what their intentions are, but we'll have to give them the combination to the gate too.
Well, according to Joan, who of course lives on site practically, she met them and talked to the new owners. And they bought the entire thing, including the brick house.
Okay,
So they bought the entire thing.
So if they want subdivision,
And it's in an extended family. So they're gonna make a compound for
cool.
kids and health.
They bought the subdivision, the 3-lot subdivision, is that what you're saying?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
And
It's up the corner.
we'll be making a water park back in there. Slide.
There's your call.
And-
I had one of those move in next door to me.
Wait a minute.
um, and so it remains to be seen. We kind of have to watch to see how they want to access the river. But when Joan talked to these people, they were not even aware that they had a wetland that is kind of impassable.
Right.
And that they would need to come in that way. So it bears watching as to what they do
Okay,
and how they
Okay.
develop. Okay. Salmon River watershed.
actually, oh, go ahead, Ron.
I think the only thing of interest to us is, an upcoming meeting that it would. Presentation of it's a wild and scenic river,
Sylvia
and
Connie.
all the towns are in the same boat of what does that mean? But apparently they've all said, yes, let's go forward. And, in November, either the 14th or the 21st, I'm sure Mark is plugged into this.
I filled out the, they didn't get back to me yet with the, they haven't picked the date.
Yeah, I haven't picked one of those. A Q&A with the National Park Service to discuss what it means for that designation. And then to that offer the opportunity. Now, you, I believe, the responder from Columbia, aren't you?
I am, but I'll have to bring everything back to the board of selectmen. And I've told them that they're looking at this, but they haven't given a, yes, we're on board.
Well, there's no obligation. At the moment, point in time, hardly be minor, to say the least. As far as I understand it, but that, I'm supposedly able to attend, so I'll be watching the Zoom meeting. Because I'm curious as to what does it mean? I wanna see it, just because it sounds good. You know, wild and scenic, but there's an obligation obviously there's.
I would wonder if there's property owners who own land up to them, that might be the only, they might, I have no idea how it works either, but. That might be the one person, people who might be interested in not having it, because there might be restrictions on them.
Who was that?
Landowners, like,
Oh, of course.
they'd be the ones, I mean, I think for us sitting here, great.
So whose property is that?
Source.
Where?
The watershed that.
It's the watershed in total, so for us, it's just the mid brook.
Yeah, but whose property does Midbrook go through?
Goes through, from Columbia, goes through
It's
states,
the gosh.
and ours, they're
And all the butters, and that,
No, who specifically, like Lucarelli?
yes. Yeah. I'll try to get it.
Jake's.
It goes all the way up to
Silver
Jake's? It backs up to Jake's?
doesn't it?
It pretty much goes all the way,
Well, it's the one that starts at Hunt Road and goes, that's all, and everything attached to it.
Oh,
And,
And it's other trees.
the, Ram property that we bought,
mhm.
That whole,
all of that. Plus the, I forget his name.
Silverstein?
Oh, yes, definitely Silverstein.
he owns a big one. He owns the nicest piece of that, well,
I
one.
know he does.
Okay,
You are speaking in English with him.
that,
No.
all, it actually goes like the Black Ledge River and stuff, all goes all the way into the Bolton to Tinker Pond, which is up in that Birch Mountain area. It's it's a long, really, really good.
But Silver-
That's a tributary, that's the source, the beginning of the Black Ledge River.
Yeah.
It's Tinker Pond, behind Gay City, all that.
yeah, you've been in a while.
You know where they have a really good map of that? It's in Cabela's. You know that? If you go over to Cabela's in East Archer and you walk through the park where they've got, northeastern wildlife taxidermy.
Let's say the day I should look.
Yeah, it was just in there when it wasn't there.
Well, here's the trick.
Did I miss?
You go in and you see the beavers
Right?
and everybody goes, oh, well, look at that. Turn around and look at the wall. It's got a, like
Isn't that stupid? I was there. and
Like that.
I didn't turn around.
there's a lot on the wall with,
Oh, cool, it's a good, healthy reason to go.
And literally
From my
there.
area, so-
and they've got like a 10-foot tall map of the Silvio Conti watershed.
Cool.
Connecticut DOT, they have a map that shows all that too, which it had to do with all the trails and stuff, they had it, that like poster size of the trail symposium. And, showing all the watersheds and what trails were around and
And
it's really well.
it's wonderful. I wish I could get a hold of those maps.
Yeah, just a map of Columbia, I don't, every half the time I don't know what creek I'm going.
Jen, just took that old road map and made a map that she can print out. That's going way up.
Oh, good. Have her print it.
It was that old fold out map. We just
Yeah,
grabbed the road part because they're not making the map.
friends.
You need to sign on that?
Oh, yeah. I'll step back for 1 second on the 12-town airline trip airlines. Not sure if it had taken place before, but for right now, I'm the interim chair for the South. For all the towns from Willimantic to Portland. And Bruce Donald, who's involved with everything with all the trails everywhere, is the interim chair for the North. So for Willimantic to Rhode Island. And a number of people that have been involved with Joshua Trust, Hopper and stuff, we're a little subcommittee formed to create the bylaws and stuff. The point is to have this, to create a 501c3 for the whole 12-town alliance.
Oh, nice.
We'll be working back and forth on bylaws.
So are you working, is the South south and north portion, you're working together, so you'll have the same bylaws, it's not too total.
Well, right now, the plan is to have a single organization. Which would be the airline trail, within it to have like separate committees, south and north. And a part of the bylaws is you have a vice president for the south, vice president for the north. We're not sure whether we'll have a single president or whether the vice
Bylaws,
president.
but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you come up with,
Okay, we wanna-
it's consistent through the whole thing.
Yes, it'll be more, the plan right now is to have one organization. We had talked, there was a lot of talk about having multiple organizations, having a south organization and north organization. But right now, we've tabled that.
It would be okay, it's kind of split, because it's a long thing, but you wanna make sure everybody's playing by the same rules, so you don't have one section that's like. Can't do something, you're driving your bike and all of a sudden you don't fall because you're in the north now, you can't do it.
And aren't the initial goals to get uniform signage
Yeah, that's.
and then the
Uniform maintenance and
maintenance, which is important.
that's one of the things too, is, okay, if we created two, north and south, and you have the Hop River. Are all three gonna be competing for a single grant and how they can, all that mechanics at, and it may go back, and may end up being split into two, but right now the thought is. To have a single organization, and maybe at some point the Hop River would be folded into it.
You know who did most of the grading work on the airline trail before Bush's Iraq War? The National Guard, the Connecticut National Guard. We're working on the airline trail, but after the Iraq War, they pulled them off. So you get, I don't know, militarily ready.
No, it used to be too, was the Coast Guard Academy would be available, things like that too.
Well, it used to be, if you were the National Guard, you didn't have to, during the Vietnam War, if you got into the National Guard, you didn't have to worry about going to war. That was the way to get out of going to Vietnam. Nowadays, whole National Guard would be in Vietnam.
So you were asking about Friends of Mountain Pond.
Yes.
So we've been pretty busy the past month. Rob and I and my wife Gail, we attended the Friends of Connecticut State Parks group. They were the ones that helped us to form in the beginning. So they had an annual meeting and we went to their annual meeting over at Black Rock State Park over the other side of Torrington. And I thought that was pretty good. A lot of people I had, like half of the people I had met before, but I hadn't seen them in a while, and I met a lot of new people. It was good to, all that networking. And then the following day, the statewide trail symposium was held at Manchester Community College. And Friends of Mono Pond was one of the sponsors, and we tabled there. And that was really good. A lot of presentations. Kim Bradley did a lot of speaking, Bruce Donald. They had a different representative from IMBA that I had a chance to talk to, that was a part of discussion, panel discussion. Then they had breakout session, and there was a group there that worked on crossing wetlands, like what we want to do at the south end of Mono Pond. And they use something called metal helical piles, where it kind of gets screwed into so they don't, anyway, it doesn't disturb as much of the wetlands as it's being built, and it has a longer life expectancy.
It looks so expensive.
Oh, everything's expensive. Well, it's either expensive to buy them and put them in, or it's expensive to repair things that rot away. So that means.
And plus, there's a lot of, if you do any damage to wetland, the cost of getting it approved is exorbitant too, so there's a big cost there, so you got something that's relatively harmless to the wetlands. You're much more likely to get easy approvals.
But it was quite interesting. It was an engineering group, and they said, depending on okay, is it just one person walking, what do they have to design to? Is it gonna, do you need to have enough wide enough and support for a gate or for an emergency, or do you need to have enough for an ambulance, or, it's like all, and that's DEP will decide what that is.
They give you any, do you actually give actual information on it, or just verbal stuff?
So I attended like a 1 hour presentation on it, but I didn't get copies of the presentation yet. It should be available.
He sent an email with a picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah.
Send it to Robbie.
Who's
The
serious?
picture.
My problem, I get 1,000
I know,
things to contribute, I mean, I'm not exaggerating.
I know you're not.
I'm not exaggerating.
You need to form a new email.
You know, I
For things that are important, and only give it to important.
The only thing I found interesting at that meeting, I talked to a few people, it's interesting, I never thought about it, there's friends. Met this couple, they're friends of Hammonasset State Park, they live in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So like, you know, even when we're thinking about, sometimes I don't think we think big enough, you realize that people almost anywhere could be a friend of Mount Pond State Park or any of these places, because that's where they like to go.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to have
That
camping.
was the idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I bet that Friends of Hammonasset is the most organized and largest in the state. I mean, it's amazing what they do.
The guy that's now the president of the Friends of Connecticut State Parks is also president of the Friends of Patchogue State Forest. And he was one that had worked with us in the beginning in setting up Friends of Mount Pond. And then I kind of lost contact with him, so at the meeting, it's, oh, so glad to hear that you guys actually did something. All of a sudden, you fell off the radar. Yeah. And he was very helpful. But one of the things with ATV problems, I shared that with everybody, was that he said that in Patchogue, they had problems with ATVs and dirt bikes. And every time you know there's a problem, you need to call DEP's line and leave a message. Even if they don't respond, that DEP uses that counts from those phone calls to help decide where staffing needs to go and when they need to actually get involved. So I shared that with people who live around Mount Pond. So the other thing, so this weekend, Saturday, from the Mount Pond, we're gonna have a hike at the end of Lake Ridge for just a short hike, couple miles, around 10 a.m. And then after that, we've invited people back to Todd Shepherd's house. To anybody that is a member of Friends of Mount Pond, to kind of give everybody an update as to where we've come and where we're going and all that kind of stuff. Not sure, it's gonna be a nice day, I don't know, I'm not sure how.
Something real nice there.
I have no idea whether we're gonna have 10 people or 20 people or 30 people or whatever, but we'll see.
So where are you parked? Where are you?
Up by Todd's house, we drive at the end of Lake Ridge where it's just a dead end road.
There's a big section of paved road that's not used. You know, you go into the woods, so there's room for quite a few cars. So you can,
There's a walking trail up there, the end of the road.
Okay. All right, so all the trails in town. Require maintenance. So I can report that. Do you all know where Potter Meadow is?
Potter?
Potter Meadow, it's the Judge's Trust property. And the steward kind of let it go. And it's in floodplain. And it's right at the confluence of the 10-mile Willimantic and Hot River. And so it's frequently underwater.
between 6 and 6.
Straight from Matthew's. The entrance is at the
Oh,
end of
that-
Commerce.
That piece there with the paved truck, paved across from Mackey,
No,
It's that down near the Commerce Drive.
across the river from Mackey.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
in on the
That's what I was thinking
Columbia
about,
side.
yeah.
It's on the Columbia side.
Only thinking about this.
So the access point is at the dead end of Commerce Drive.
Right. And so they, Josh was trusted, just, you know, done a good job. Here. The trails, they. Take a look at
Should you
it.
park at the end of Commerce?
Yeah, park at the end of Commerce.
Almost there, just almost.
And now it's a good time before it rains.
So one of the things with trail maintenance, Dan and I have been talking about it for quite a while. Out of the Conservation Commission to get the trail committee more active than it was. So I keep trying to come up with a plan for possibly this November to invite everybody that has any kind of, if you want, to work on the airline trail, the Hop River Trail, the Joshua Trust stuff. You know, give everybody a room that if you have any interest in trails that are somehow involved, touch Columbia. You know, and here's the rules you have to play by if it's state land, here's the rules for town land, here's the rules for Joshua's Trust. And go from there. And Colchester Land Trust is doing a really good job of, as well as Hebron's Trail, giving people different jobs. Yeah, I walk the trail, I don't really want to do any work, but I want to report when a tree's down, or I don't care about walking the trail, I just love cutting trees down. So, I mean, it's getting that skill set. And some people, all I care about is Potter Meadow, I don't care about any other trail, and so getting that mix of people that want to work on the trails. So I'm shooting for November to try to get some, at least a first meeting, to get anybody that's interested to come and chat and then go from there.
Might be a good thing to bring up Saturday,
But
this Saturday, it'd be a good thing to bring up this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, so this Saturday was 10 o'clock hike.
Yep.
Starting at the end of Lake Ridge Drive.
No, I mean, we can talk about maintenance.
Oh, that kind of stuff too, yeah.
Okay, new business.
okay, new business. So about a year ago, we had a subcommittee, Chris and Paul Ramsey, and we got together and came up with an informational sheet about if you wish to conserve your land, here's how you do it. You know, it went through, you know,
I gave that to Justin Holbrook's wife, recently when she had that little memorial service.
Yeah.
And she
Good.
was happy to receive
so
it.
I was wondering if this committee, in conjunction with the Conservation Commission, wanted to do a program for larger landowners, invite them to come. What triggered this, we did it, what, 25 years ago, I think, when Chris was the chairman of Space, and we invited landowners to come and it was just information. And at that one, we had Joshua's Trust come and talk, you know, NRCS, open space, you know, the state, and you have different speakers. And I just noticed that Andover had a similar program, and they invited NRCS to come and talk to all their landowners, and not just how you can, you know, donate or sell or something, to get rid of your land, how you can do conservation easement, but also land management. And that's where NRCS comes in, because they have grants available. So if you've got this big farm, for instance, and it's getting overgrown, the owner's getting older, and they don't want to take care of it, or perhaps you're younger and you want to purchase such a farm. What do you do with that when it's all overgrown? So these are the kinds of speakers that you have.
I
What do
think
you
that's a
think?
really good idea, but I would say November's awful with the election. And December, Christmas, so maybe after the new year.
Oh, yeah,
Election's over.
or next year.
Election's over in November.
Yeah, but
We're all gonna be crying or something.
shit may hit the fan.
This would take planning, because you've got to figure out
Yeah, you're talking,
your target audience, you've got to We will send them a letter saying,
And I think it ought to be coordinated with the publication date of the views too, which I can
right,
give you,
and
but it also.
I'm talking a year out,
Oh, okay.
because there would be a lot of moving parts to this, to line up speakers and advertising and that sort of thing.
All right, well,
And so just give that some thought.
While you're thinking about that for a minute, one of the things that I looked into was there's different private property that's around Model Pond. And at one point, they talked about easements, if we had easements that included in the plan.
Yep.
So I asked Kim Bradley, could you give me a copy of some standard easement verbiage? She said, well, the state really isn't doing that anymore, that we'd rather have the easements if there are any held by the town. And so, well, do you have any version? So anyway, that was kind of a dead end. So then, so I reached out to Joshua's Trust, and potentially Joshua's Trust may be able to share with me some sort of boilerplate easement language that we might, in a meeting like that, share with
We
landowners and
have,
stuff.
we have a boilerplate conservation easement. And
For trail, I mean, for access, right?
he's talking about like a path to get to some.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, with the language. Okay,
What's the road name that Rick Shepherd lived on?
Lake Ridge,
like,
Is that where, at the end of Lake Ridge is where the hikes are from?
yeah, that was where the neighborhood was gonna continue on and around Monmouth Pond,
Lake Ridge Road.
and that Lake Ridge Drive,
Right.
that's why the road is much longer. Should have, so they were gonna do that, the road would have ended prior to where it does now, so
And
that's kind of a
Lake
template.
Ridge is in Island Woods.
Yep,
and
Lake Ridge is the main,
Is any of the walk wet?
it shouldn't be right now, I'm not sure where we're walking there.
He's what,
Yeah,
So I could tell people on Willie Radio tomorrow morning that if you want to go on a hike.
No, I want this to be just really for the.
Oh, it-
That are members of the Friends of Monmouth
And I
Pond.
won't mention.
And we're not advocating for that to any way be a future parking area or access.
Okay, so this is just for the.
this is the Friends of Mount
Good thing I asked.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So, give this new business some thought. And we'll bring it up again next month. Okay,
sounds good.
all right. I don't think we need an executive session.
No, any luck with Mark Reynolds?
Yes, he said I'll bring early next week,
Oh, that's great.
so it's,
I
I'd be hoping for Monday, expecting it Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'll keep on.
Who's Mark?
He's the architect that bought Rob's business.
Engineer.
Engineer that bought Rob's business, and he's doing the final drawings for the DOT application for the Route 66 parking lot.
Okay. Does anybody have any other comments or business? Yes,
I have one last thing. So at the farm, there was an inquiry as to whether at some point could we put, let animals, cows pasture on the field that Ron has now. And so that would, if we were to do that, there'd be an improvement needed to all the fencing and so forth. So I reached out to Joan Nichols with the Connecticut Farm Bureau and asked her advice. So he and I have not gotten together yet, but she said there's a longer tail to it than we might think, so. Once I have that information, I'll share that with whoever needs to.
Is that a local farmer that's asked for that?
Yes. Couple of, Cloverly Farms and another one, it'd be nice,
Has Ron given up working there?
no. It was just,
That's
just
a
got,
huge
just,
thing.
no, this is just, the question was asked, we do that at some future date, I'm like, I don't even know if legal, if the town would allow it, I don't know what. Who would, if the cows get loose.
Well, I was allowed, that they were hoping that at some point Ron would finally retire, and then the town would have control, we could like rent the land to farmers and help pay for some of the activities up at the upper section.
Yeah, I mean, that will happen someday, we don't know when. And right now, it's being maintained fairly well compared to the way it had been maintained.
And for a while, nothing was going on.
Okay. I move we adjourn. At
9:57, no, 9:52.
Alright.
All right, Paul, any last thoughts?
Nope, have a great day, guys.
Okay, so, see you, Paul.
thanks for coming, Bob.
Hold on, there's my recording, stop. We don't have a meeting, do we, Doug?
No, because we didn't, I figured we, whatever we were gonna say, we would talk about